evening all, welcome back to Space Engineers. Right, here you go, look at this. This is the beauty of spectator mode at super high fast speed. We are watching, well, this is me mining with the camera fixed and my ability to kind of, move around and wiggle and etc. and mine. And look at that, it's absolutely chewing through rock. And it's pretty good. I've got to admit, I like the large miners. I think they're pretty good, actually. I'm surprised how good they are. This thing just chews through rock. And then obviously having the refinery on board as well is just amazing. I'm glad I kept the ship small as well. This is just, oh, it's lovely. It's working so well. And I think at the moment, this is definitely creating more ore than I can possibly use on the space station at the moment. So we're just stockpiling a lot of this. I did lose a fair bit of ore going between creative and survival, so just bear that in mind. If you have containers that are overfilled, you will lose surplus in those containers, so make sure you do empty them. Anyway, today we're going to show you some of we're going to show you two things. Towards the end of the video, we're going to show you the grinding deck in action, so you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for it. But what I wanted to show you here was really just how the mining's working, and then how we can fly this thing back to the station and then connect it all up, and then have multiple refineries, multiple assemblers producing and building all in one go. It is incredibly efficient. We are on survival, at least I think I am. And obviously that means we then have to have enough material in our inventory to build a couple of connecting tubes, so just bear that in mind. That's all you really need. But once we docked it, we can then obviously just connect it all up, and then we're up and running. And I would recommend you do this. It's not elegant, it's not perfect. We will perfect the design, but at the moment it'll do. So as we come back, we realize that we're actually walking into a bit of a hailstorm. Look at that, wow, nice. And so the defenses do work. They look pretty awesome as well, and the ship's defenses obviously are kicking in as well, which is just lovely. People think I'm mad for having so many guns, but I just think the better, the more lead in the air, the better. So here we go. We're going to come into dock. Now, the merge blocks are probably one of the finest things that this game has added for a long time. This does feel like we are docking. So I'm really happy about this. I love it so much. And I think we're going to have a look at this mining ship a bit more and make it a bit more proper. At the moment, it's a bit more like a skiff. It doesn't feel quite right. Oh, I just realized the blocks are offline, so we need to actually switch them back on. But again, the beauty of it is that you can read, this game is a tinkerer's game. It really is. There we go, switch them on. So that will then auto lock once we get close enough. As we slowly march closer, they seem quite resilient as well. I will say that they are pretty tough things. Probably best just to name them, as I'm doing here. This is not a bad thing to do, because once they're all part of the station, you then just need to know which ones are which. So that's probably worth doing. But almost there, ding, 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 dunk, and there we go. And then we're connected. So we're now formally part of that station. So this is all connected blocks to that station. So that's awesome. And then all we need to do is to build a connection tube between them, and then that plugs in the entire refinery and storage of this minor vessel. So you see here, we've already got the thing. Look at that, it's already set. And all we need to do is just connect them, and that's it. Simple as that, because the merge blocks don't move, so we know that all we need to do is just connect the two. Now I probably could use conveyors, but I think for now this will do. And there we go. So that's now connected. That's it. So as we go into the starbase, we can actually start to move the ore around immediately. So we're not relying on one refinery to refine all of that ore. We can actually send it all the way to the other refineries right now. So that's a really, it's just so cool. I love it, I really do. So a little bit of fiddling about needed though, because you see there's so many things that have an inventory. You've got to kind of know roughly where it is. So there we go, that we know that that's our refinery there. And then what we're going to do is scroll down until we see the mining ship. So there we go, mining ref, you see it there? There we go. So that's what we've just mined there on the right. And all we need to do then is just copy them across. There you go. In they go. So then we're starting to use the multiple refinery. So station beta refinery has actually got nothing going. So we need to put lots more in that. And then that's it. And then off it goes. And then you can also move all of the product in as well instantly. Now I'm going to probably move most things across, because I don't really want the refinery on the mining ship to have much in it. Maybe stone. We'll leave it to do that. But everything else, I think it's probably best we just drop into this. And then the assemblers, you see there, we can move the assembler into the assemblers. We can move all of the minerals in there. Really efficient stuff. You know, hopefully you're seeing that and you're agreeing with that, because it just makes life a lot easier. Plus, again, we are in survival now, so we do have limitations on size. So what we're going to do is use our containers as well. So we have our large cargo containers at the bottom of the station that we're going to use to, you know, to sort of place you know, spare bits of stuff as well. Now, one of the things we haven't done is connect the interior turrets yet. That's yet to be done, so I'm not particularly looking forward to doing that, because the turrets are quite deadly. But we'll do that at some point. But there we go. So we're now using everything properly. Okay, so we're not having to like move huge quantities of stuff. It's just zipping between the station using the conveyor system. I love it, I really do. And then you're gonna notice we've got sort of like huge amounts of storage for parts. So we're starting to really build a real surplus of parts, which is excellent. And yeah, it's looking pretty awesome. The Gatling turrets are obviously taking ammo as well. So you see there they've been actually firing quite a bit. Now, because we are in survival, we're going to have to make sure that we keep building quite a bit. So, you know, I'm always trying to keep stuff building as well. Having such big storage areas is definitely worth doing, because that means you've got a substantial amount of area to store stuff in. You can see we're building pretty quick. I think I've set it to 10 times speed. I know that's still kind of cheating. We will set it back once we're up a bit more and running. But there we go. Yeah, lovely stuff. Hopefully you're agreeing. Right, now let's look at the grinding deck. Now, unfortunately, I was going to use this as my target to go and grind, but then I forgot I was in creative, so naturally I got shot dead in seconds. But then I found, aha, hang on, it spawned me back in one of these kind of starter ships. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. So we're back here, we're back in one of these. So I'm thinking, well, this'll do for our grinding test. So what we're going to do now is fly this to our base. And we're going to basically cut this thing into a million pieces and salvage it. Now, this is kind of an idea I've had for a while, because one of the things we are going to do is we're going to have a lot more kind of stronger ships built to board other ships. Boarding has become a lot more dangerous obviously in survival. It's very deadly. It's easy to do in creative because you're invulnerable, but in creative it's actually quite difficult. So we're going to design a few ships that are really going to kind of clamp on and destroy hostile ships. So that's something we're gonna start to look at. And what I mean by that is we'll grab them, we'll slow them down, we'll destroy their guns, we'll grab them in huge clamps, and then what we'll do is we'll then feed them into the refinery or the grinding deck, as you'll see in just a moment. So this is actually a kind of trial in progress. And the idea being is that eventually we won't need to mine for everything. We can mine when we need to. We've got the vehicle to do it. But I also want another vehicle that can go and salvage. So as ships get destroyed, as ships get kind of come into our system, we can grab them and we can then feed them into the grinder in our station. And that's really kind of the desire. Now, the grinding deck is at the bottom. It's not pretty at the moment. It needs a bit of work, but it's this thing here. And as you can see, it's very unsubtle at the moment. We are going to make it obviously encased and housed. But that's it there, and all it is just a gravity-fed grinding deck. So you need to use mass blocks, so you need to actually create artificial mass. But in essence, this is how it's going to work. Now, once we've got a ship that's quite a powerful tug, this thing will feed ships into it. It will actually just feed ships directly into oblivion, effectively. But what we're going to do, so we're going to test drive this with our little buggy thing here. And all we do is we place it roughly where we need it to be. And it maybe needs to be bigger, maybe needs to be smaller, I'm not sure. And then what we do is we have to build an artificial mass block. And the way we do that is we go up into the, let me see, I think we need to maybe get some parts, I'm not sure. We may have enough parts, we'll have a look. I think we're still on survival. Yeah, I think we are. So what we need to then do is place this inside the ship, or probably around the ship. Now, as I realized I do this, I actually died, so I don't have the parts to do this. So what I did is I just did a quick edit there, and I actually took the gravity generator apart and used that, because the gravity generator gives me all the parts to do the artificial mass block, which is nice. Now I switched the engine off, which is a stupid thing to do. I should have left that running, because actually you do need to power the mass block, but you'll see it in a moment. You'll get how it works. So all I need to do is just switch the power back on, and this thing will then hit the gravity field of the station, which is pointed down because we've actually inverted the gravity field at the bottom here, and it will then basically be drawn into the station's gravity field. So let me just switch it back on. There we go, and then there we go. And then what we've done is we've actually switched on all of the grinders. Isn't that amazing? Oh, it's so good. And that's it. It then grinds them away, and then block by block, it's just dismantling the entirety of the ship. Simple as that. And now eventually the power does go, so that you just need to be aware of that. The power is, you know, the mass block is needed to be powered, so just bear that in mind. But what's happened there, and I won't show it, but what's happened there is every single component made to make that ship is now stored in the station. Simple as that. And that's got to be one of the more enjoyable ways to get things. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll show this being used next time.